Welcome, guys, to episode 18 of Come to Work with Me. I am Audrey, and today we're joined by a very, very cool individual, Lewis. But before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we all meet today across all of Victoria and acknowledge their elders past, present, and emerging. And I'd like to hand over to Lewis.
Thank you. Hello. Really great to be here. I too would also like to acknowledge that I'm connecting from Wurundjeri Woiwurrung country, and I have lived and grown up on this beautiful country and am a guest of this country. So I give thanks to all those that have walked these lands before us and have taken care of this country. And I guess essentially thank them for being able to thrive on this country, and my children can as well.
I love it. Now, welcome to Come to Work with Me. I'm so excited to learn a bit more about who you are and what you do and how you've gotten to this point in your lives. So to kick off, let's ask the big question. Who are you and what do you do?
Who am I? That's definitely something that I constantly change, but that's always something.
That's what you got to do. Constantly learning and evolving.
No, 100%. But I can give you my ancestral connections are Yorta Yorta and Dja Dja Wurrung, and that's on my mother's side. And on my father's side, I'm a Gundi Chamara Kiro Wurrung man. My name is Lewis Brown. I have had quite the journey, but currently hold the title of Executive Officer and Team Leader to the Aboriginal Justice Caucus as well.
Amazing. I want to learn more about this. We're going to touch on all of your different roles later, but please continue. Sorry.
So I also hold a second job. It's a new job. I, being true to my matriarch and for doing the best I can in my identity by participating in cultural fire and on Dja Dja Wurrung country. So I also hold the position of a Jandakwi cultural fire field officer at the Dja Dja Wurrung enterprises.
Amazing. So for some of our people who are tuning in, students, viewers, can you touch on a little bit more about what that is and about your roles in your communities?
So I guess my primary role, my executive officer role, I support the operations of what's called the Aboriginal Justice Caucus. And the Aboriginal Justice Caucus stems from an agreement that occurred 21 years ago called the Aboriginal Justice Agreement. In that agreement, what's included in that agreement is a very clear agreement between the Victorian government and the Victorian Aboriginal community about improving justice outcomes for Aboriginal people. A lot of initiatives that stemmed from this agreement, one being the Aboriginal Justice Caucus. Another would be the Koori courts, so the Magistrates Court, the Children's Court, and the County Court as well. And a lot of other justice agreement initiatives that stem from it, like Aboriginal wellbeing officers in prisons, sheriff's Aboriginal liaison officers as well. And this agreement has constantly evolved and to be timely in that we constantly look at different ways of how we can support Aboriginal people in easier access to justice, reduce prison rates, and ultimately stop Aboriginal deaths in custody. So I support the Aboriginal Justice Caucus that I suppose lead the Justice Agreement and are the main point of contact. As well as that, I participate in a lot of policy, so around Aboriginal justice. So I guess some examples, some public intoxication reforms that are currently happening and other different types of reform as well. My second role is I'm sort of yet to start, but I will be able to, I guess once it's safe to do so, and I'm able to freely travel from Jajaradong country and Wurundjeri country as well. I will be responsible for doing what's called a cultural fire, so burning off land to allow for a different biodiversity to come through. Healing in a sense, and to avoid future bushfires as well. So really excited to be a part of that.
You're amazing.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry, that was the first thing that came to my head. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. You have got some amazing, amazing roles on your shoulders and a lot of responsibility in our community. So thank you for all you do. Wow, is all I can say. You seem so passionate about what you do. Your face lights up when you're talking about your work. So why do you think you're so passionate about what you do?
Why I think I'm passionate, I think it's not only, it's kind of like I get paid to support my spirit and my identity, if that makes sense. So I'm doing what I can for my community is what I'm most passionate about in whatever type of setting. I've worked in education, I've worked in homelessness, I've worked in lots and lots of different things, family violence. I could just name it off. Here's my resume, but I think that what fills my cultural spiritual cup is that I'm able to support the community, get paid and support my family as well, which is something I'm so passionate about. And I'm really, really looking forward to my second job because that's a very strong cultural focus. And I've done a lot of supporting family, supporting law reform, advocating for community. But what's new about this job is that I'm supporting healing of land, and I really, really connect with that. And I feel like my family and my ancestors would be proud of that as well. Committing to something like that. So I'm just really, really excited to do that. But yeah, that's the reason why I get up so easily in the morning. Never used to be a morning person, but yeah, definitely it's a result of my jobs and my journey that I'm able to do that, and being able to pass the learnings that I'm onto my children one day as well.
Absolutely. Now, you've done a certificate 3 in community services, which has allowed you to be able to go into the industry with your experiences, your long CV. Your resume must be like 6 pages long with everything you've done. Um, so I've read that you've done a certificate 3 in community services. Was that a life-changing experience for you? Did that open doors that you didn't think necessarily would open for you?
Well, yeah, so I've done a lot of a few vocational courses
You have.
right
You
now,
have.
yeah. And let me take you back. 2015, I did I started working towards a certificate 3 in community services. I didn't have a great high school experience. I was constantly pushed that the need of university onto me. Success only looks like a university course. So I finished school. I did my year 12. Really, really did feel like that I just got through. And that was enough for me. I went straight into the workforce. I worked at a casino, which was damaging my spirit. I eventually returned and got a job at the Victorian Aboriginal Health Service, and that's when my spirit started to strengthen as well. And my manager said, "Here's a certificate 3 in community services, and you can do that at another Aboriginal organisation." And I'm like, based on my high school experience, is study something I'm really capable of? And so it was that moment where I did decide to enroll. Was the day my life changed, I guess.
Mm-mm.
Um, it was
And I think a
my
lot of students finishing year 12 who are not the best at school, or they've been pushed like a lot of people have, that uni is the only way, that
yeah
you feel a little deflated. You
yeah
you don't want to continue on with other options.
yeah
So I can understand the bit of a struggle of fighting with yourself, like, am I going to be able to do this? But a lot of the
yeah
times, vocational pathways is a great way to go.
is yeah, well, it was definitely the right way
The
to go for
right
me.
way for you.
Yeah, and I made a very strong connection with my trainer at the time, Melinda. Um, and I guess, yeah, since that moment, um, I was able to return for the certificate 4 in community services. And I felt really, really supported in the classroom, because the beauty of vocational education is that it is a classroom setting, and how it differs from university is sort of, you need to be a lot more autonomous in university, and it's sort of, these are the standards and you need to meet them. Whereas vocational education is, you're supported by your trainer and you're supported by your peers as well, and that peership sort of lasts forever. I'm Everyone I was in the class with, I often engage with still. Um, so yeah, I guess that was the moment that sort of changed things for me, and I quickly shifted from I'm incapable of studying at all, where now I've done the certificate 3, I've done the certificate 4, I did a diploma in leadership and management, and currently doing the diploma of community services. I'm always going back to vocational
Always
education. Yeah,
learning. This is
yeah,
something that I say in every one of these episodes for the past 18 weeks. Everyone is constantly learning, and you are never too old to go back and learn something new.
yeah, yeah. And there are people 10 years younger than me, and there are people in my class that are 20, 30 years older than me. And we support each other all the same. It's sort of, it's operated in a circle environment rather than a triangle.
I love it. It's fantastic. So do you think, let's touch a little bit on your leadership and management. What do you think it takes to be a strong leader?
I think that the biggest thing that comes to mind is leading by example. I definitely, I try to bring on, I'm a, rather than a manager and telling people what to do, it's sort of, we're all in this together, and we all, if I'm not showing up and providing examples, how can I expect someone that is looking up to me to do the same as well? So um, I think that's a very strong quality. And I think that another thing is communication, understanding each other's expectations. Um, Someone who's looking up to you and someone who is in that leadership position, you definitely need to recognize there's a two-way street there. There's expectations of each other rather than the leader having expectations on people. There's definitely expectations on you as a leader, and sometimes people don't hold you accountable because of your position. So it's really, really up to you to constantly put self-reflection exercises in place and recognize, is this good leadership? Um, and if it wasn't, why isn't it? And how can you improve as well?
Absolutely. So what would you tell students who have an interest in working their way up to a leadership role? What would be your advice to them?
I think that I I've always sort of wanted to see myself in a leadership role, and what worked for me was yeah, just listen and learn, especially to not not excluding every other student, but as a young Aboriginal person, listening to your elders. And anyone can do that. You can listen to those who've been around for a long time before you have. Listen to their wisdom and then translate it into a current setting, because sometimes it doesn't work in today's sort of world. But Yeah, I think that have just a lot more confidence in what things you're saying. You might not think it, but definitely everything that you learn and you say is golden. And I guess sort of once you recognize that, that confidence will sort of come through. And sometimes you might not say the right thing, but it's your response to that, I guess, is what um, is really important. You could respond in a negative manner and sort of react in a way, or take it on as constructive criticism and grow from that as well. That was a hard learning for me. I received my fair share of criticism, but it's all in love. I think. I think that if somebody's providing you with criticism, or yeah, I guess take it as an opportunity to grow.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is usually my last question, so I reckon we could have this conversation and keep talking all day. This is perfect. However, we can't, sadly. So my last question to you, Lewis, is if you could give advice to your younger self, what would it be?
I think there's a lot I would give to my younger self.
One piece, only one piece of advice.
No, I just I think that my advice, I'm pretty, I sit comfortable with my journey so far. However, the advice I would give is that university is not be all and end all. I think that it is great to be ambitious and want to get your master's and want to get your bachelor degrees, even a PhD, and that's all really, really great. However, that's constantly what is being pushed, and it's okay to look at vocational education as an option, be it vocational education into work or vocational education into even higher study. I think that our career advisors, especially in my time when I graduated 10, 12 years ago, I guess sort of, it wasn't really pushed on students or made available to students, but my advice would be, yeah, learn about those pathways, understand them, and I guess really just drill into my little head back then that I am capable of that kind of study.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come and have a chat with us and let us into your life a little bit. It's been amazing to learn. Thank you.
No, thank you. I'm really good to be here.
Amazing. For anyone else who would love to have a chat with Lewis or, have a chat about any of your vet champions, you can go to the website, talk to a vet champion, and you can basically have a chat and get Lewis out to your schools or anything like that to have a chat like we did today. So thank you again for coming on, Lewis. Teachers, friends, students, remember you can get lesson plans and our recordings on the Vic Lens website. Congratulations on being a vet champion, Lewis. That's a huge achievement. I didn't get to say that earlier, so congratulations again. And of course, we'll be back on Thursday with yet another episode of Come to Work With Me, number 19, which is the Sales Manager edition. We've got so many amazing people coming on and having a chat with me over the next few weeks, so definitely keep an eye out. And yeah, this was awesome. Thank you so much.